Hello, everybody. Today I am joined with Jane. Jane, thank you for joining me today. Do you want to give us a quick intro and let us know a bit about what you do?
Sure. I'm a relationship coach. I've been a relationship counselor slash therapist for about 14 years, I think.
That's great. Thank you. Well, again, thank you for taking some time to join me today. I guess why don't you kick us off and just let us know a little bit about so when you first signed on, when you first got that email, what were the main challenges in your business that you were sort of hoping to overcome?
Like I said, I don't really have an online presence, and I think what I was hoping for was some consistency. Like I hadn't, um, I'd only really advertised on like the coaching directory and the counseling directory and the hypnotherapy directory. So it was basically there was no sales or marketing strategy. So there was nothing in place at all. So probably what I was missing was consistency in any kind of strategy.
Okay, yeah, that makes so had you tried anything else in the past apart from directories or
I, I'm really I'm really lazy. I'm really inconsistent. So I have tried things and never really stuck to them.
okay, fair enough. So nothing really to shout about.
Nothing to shout about.
Fair enough. And okay, so obviously when we had our first call and I sent you the email, what was in your head the main thing that you were wanting to sort of get out of working together?
I guess I mean I'd spent a lot of money on trying to learn marketing. Um, and I think what was appealing to me was having somebody to hold my hand, walk through the process with me. I feel like I'm not very good on my own. I lose momentum. And it was really lovely to have you like making sure you were coaching me, you were making me accountable. I don't
Mm.
know if I answered your question, but that's what it made me think of.
That's okay. No, of course. All right. So yeah, so I mean, do you want to break down for us then quickly? So what were the results of us working together? We did a bit of a shorter period together, but
Mm.
I think you had some great sort of turnaround and some great learning from our time together as well.
Yeah, I did. I was again. My work is really hit and miss. So in the end, by the time it went live, we only had about 2 weeks, and the response was so crazy that I ended up saying to you, I haven't got time to do all of the calls. We got so many calls, it was nuts. I feel
Yeah.
like, and we'd originally said we'll do the plan for 14 days. We'd agreed a 14-day budget.
Mm.
And I think it was like £16 a day to spend on the ads. And I think after like day 10, I'm like, we need to stop it because I haven't got enough time to take the calls. So I feel like we did it for 10 days. It wasn't 14 days in the
Oh, is
end,
it?
but
Yeah.
we got 17 calls booked in.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Bonkers. It's
That's
actually
great.
bonkers. And
Yeah.
I was still having them like weeks after we actually closed the ads down. So
No,
yeah,
that's
it's busy.
That's amazing. And I guess what would you say you took from it? Like I said, we only did a short period. You obviously
Mm,
got a lot of calls, and we were speaking just before this sort of went.
mm,
We just started recording it, and you were saying about what you sort of learned from our time together. Could you share a
mm.
bit of that, like what that helps you realize from the stuff we done together?
Well, it helped me realize I need to be consistent. Um, it helped me realize that the marketing message, I mean, it made me, I don't know, it made me think loads, there's so much learning that came out of it. I don't even really know where to start. Um, that I didn't know anything about Instagram. It clearly works. That's a big learning. It made me, I think what it made me do is the learning about the process and the structure, just how to structure the videos, for example, just the
Yeah,
strategy behind it. So there was like lots of really great learning, um, like how the fact of getting over myself and actually creating videos. There was just so much learning that came out of it. The fact it was so effective for such with such a short space of time and for so little money as well.
yeah,
Um, and the like the message, I thought the messaging, it made me really think about who I was talking to, because relationships is a kind of really difficult area in the sense that there are two people, and
mm,
when you're marketing, you're only really going to talk to one person. So it
yeah,
sort of made me think about adjusting my approach and who I'm talking to. So there's just like tons of learning that came out of it.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm glad. I'm happy you sort of found it useful. And I think that that bit's important that you mentioned about like the marketing message and getting clear on it. Because like again, like I was saying before we sort of start recording, like the a lot of people don't you don't know about your marketing message until you put it out there to market to test. And
Mm,
like you say, it was a great learning for yourself as well to sort of understand a bit more about your niche and what sort of direction to go. So I'm glad it helped you in that way.
yeah. So
And so okay, so again, our time was short, but I really
yeah.
enjoyed it. What was your favorite part of working together? What did you like about it?
I just think you're lovely. I mean, you're just so lovely and easy to work with. You're so calm. Like you're really a great coach, and like the accountability. Because I think when you're like a coach or like therapist, whatever, it's quite lonely. Like I think part of it was when I say I'm lazy, and probably I'm being a bit harsh on myself. I think it's difficult to keep the momentum going when it's just you working in the business and on the business.
Yeah,
So I think the nicest part was to have accountability and you being very expert and in terms of like very specific about what the steps were and then kind of holding my hand through the process. So it was definitely the best bit was working with you. And I think the other part of it was just the surprise of how well it worked. Like it was just crazy. It was actually really, I know I was busy doing working with clients anyway, but it was just bonkers to look at the amount of messages that came. It was absolutely crazy.
yeah.
Just the sheer number of people contacting me or you actually because you were running the account. But it was, and you're like, then the other funny part was you'd message me on WhatsApp. Can you get back to this person? They keep on messaging you. And it was just so funny because without you, I mean, that's the thing. Like, there's just messages that I'm not even. I'm just really bad at doing that. I definitely in answer to your question, the best thing was working with you.
Oh, great. Thank you. I appreciate that. But yeah, the messages definitely did go, it went berserk. But
Really
yeah.
did.
Was there, I know you mentioned you've done like some directories and some other little bits. What would you say for you were the main like differentiators and differences?
I guess what are the differences? I don't know really. I suppose that when you're looking for somebody like me, if you Google like a therapist in a particular niche in your area, um, I was probably coming up for people on a Google search. Whereas this way, it felt like I was more in control because it was my messaging or your
Yeah.
messaging that people were responding to. So it feels that I think that's the point. Whenever you're like, it was a bit of a wing and a prayer before. I mean, like a lot of my business, like probably about 80% of it is referral and recommendation because I've just been doing it so long.
Yeah.
So it was really interesting to think about having a marketing strategy where I was more in control. Like you can pay for ads and that you can see the taps turned on and then you
Mm.
turn it off. So it was that control that was different.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I know what you mean. I guess like predictability almost. You know, if you switch that ad back on, you're going to get X amount of followers, X amount of conversations, etc., etc. So
Yeah.
no, that's great. And I guess was there anything when we first had our first ever call? Was there anything sort of holding you back, or anything you were slightly hesitant about before jumping on, or were you sort of
I
with the
guess I wasn't hesitant about you because you just came across so genuine. And I suppose what I was more concerned about is that I wouldn't have the time and I wouldn't follow through. And
yeah
actually, in the beginning, that was true. And I feel, and I don't know whether you said it early on, like, is there? What are you scared of something? And I don't know whether I was scared, and maybe I was scared, but it was maybe about like not, like I said, I'm not a video generation, so I suppose actually getting to the point where I am recording those videos. Yeah, so that was maybe the
yeah
hesitancy was maybe around that, but I knew I needed to do something, and because like I say, I spent loads of money on trying to do this before and never actually got anywhere.
mm,
So I wasn't hesitant. I was really curious and I really wanted to see. So the answer to your question is Not really. There wasn't really a hesitancy. It's a very
Okay.
long answer to a very short question.
No worries, that's fine. Cool. And okay, I guess before we wrap this up, is who would you recommend us to, and what would be your main reason for recommending us?
Um, I have already recommended you to people. What would be the main? Well, like I say, you is the main reason. I just think that you've made it so easy, and I think anybody, any sort of small business, or because I only know small business, so
Mm,
anybody really in the coaching kind of or counselling or therapy kind of world, I think you'd be amazing for.
cool. Jane, thank you so much for your time. It's been great. Thank you for taking time out of your day. For anybody watching this, if you want to sort of learn more about the exact system that we used for Jane and the other coaches that I work with, I'm going to link the video below, so feel free to watch that there. But Jane, thank you again for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Cheers.